Hi guys, it's Wolf Maiden, and today I'm going to be talking about and starting calligraphy for the first time. So I have this book here, it's called Medieval Calligraphy. It's history and technique, and I figured this would be a great starting point to figuring out where to start and what to do. And it does a really good job in these pages informing when the script came to be, how to do it. There's a lot of examples in here. There's a lot about history, including something that I thought was hilarious, the patron demon of calligraphy, and the reason why it's a patron and not really just a demon. So I found this to be really interesting. This can be utilized in both LARP and tabletop RPGs, so I'm really excited to start and to figure out what calligraphy is all about. I'll show you everything that I got. Everything's from Amazon. I can link all of it below, and we'll see how good my first attempt at the script is. So yeah, I guess without further ado, I'm going to show you. So first we have the set I purchased off of Amazon. It came with this envelope that says best wishes on it and a letter paper that says I want to travel to Paris. Now there's a lot of stuff in here. There's the nibs for the dip pen. There's the thing to melt the wax on. There's the wax itself for sealing letters and stuff. Then there's this to hold the pen, and the ink is supposed to sit in that little spot, but they gave me one that was square and too big, so it doesn't sit there next to where to put the feather pen in. And this is a letter opener with a fleur-de-lis on it, which is gorgeous. And I love the weight of all these things. It feels really nice. Then we have the feather pen itself. Red is my favorite color, so I love it. And then it's got this tip on it, which in hindsight was not what I should have started calligraphy with. I should have figured out how to take that out and replace it with the other nibs up there. Now, the set also comes with a candle to melt the wax and the seal stamp thing. It has weight to it, and it's got another fleur-de-lis on it, which is pretty neat. So, but yeah, it is hefty. I like how it looks. It's so pretty, like this gold set. So now we're gonna go ahead and look at the Medieval Calligraphy, its history and technique book. I was going to look through the different scripts. There are 13 scripts, and they all look like really different from each other most of the time. So I had a hard time figuring out what it was that I wanted to do. So I basically just flipped through the pages looking at the scripts, and you can see some of the examples of actual manuscripts, as well as how to do the strokes, and a little bit of history about them. Which, if in case you are interested in medieval history, this is an interesting part of it. I recommend this book a lot. I really like it just for its like historical stuff, as well as its instruction itself. So some of these were very intimidating for me. The ones that don't like this, the ones that don't look like English. It just looks like a bunch of squiggles to me. And I was like, oh no, I can't do any of this. And then I came across this one. I thought it was like pretty, it was simple. And I sort of skipped over it in the beginning. I took a long time. I took maybe like 10 minutes flipping back and forth between the pages, trying to decide what I was going to start with. I wanted to start with something that wasn't too hard to learn first, and then maybe do one that is more ornate but still readable later. I just kind of flipped through some of these. can pause probably at any time to see kind of the pages. But if you're interested, I definitely encourage getting this book. So finally, I decided on Carolingian minuscule. I thought it was very interesting, including its brief history. So here I took a ruler and started to make lines to start practicing. I used graph paper because that was going to be easiest. It's kind of similar to what you see in the book on the left there. So I just used the ruler, and I did 3 squares high on all of these lines, and then I was ready to start. So I dipped my pen in the ink for the first time and drew a line with this fine point, and then messed with the top part for a while. Wrote Wolf Maiden and made a mess. At the very top, ink splattered on it, and yeah, I didn't know what I was doing here in the beginning, but I learned afterward. And then I just started doing the lettering. And of course, because I didn't have a wider nib, it was too fine for the script. So I had to keep going and just, I mean, it looked like a regular alphabet, right? So I was like, man, this is not what it's supposed to look like. And then after I wrote them, I decided to go back and fill them in. So I do a little bit of that. This is not how you're supposed to do calligraphy. I'm just dumb. But I learned how to hold the pen. I learned eventually how to properly get ink and write, and the pressure and all of that. So it was still useful in that regard, but I wish I had started with the proper nib. You guys might see a short that won't replace my regular weekly videos when I actually try to do this correctly. So with my other nibs. And even on the book itself, it tells you how wide you want your nib. And you don't have to do calligraphy with a dip pen either. I just wanted to. I think it's really fun. And after it all got done too, I was really impressed with how it looked, even though, again, I didn't do it properly, but it mimicked it closely enough that I was like, oh wow. It's encouraging, I guess. But in some ways, I did more art than I did actual calligraphy. So, still pretty, still useful. I think the fine point gives you a lot more control. So like if you're afraid to mess up, if you wanted to do like a proper header or something for a LARP project or a D&D project, I think this would work pretty well, just so you get all the control that you want. And just with this book and this set, I think that I was able to do a pretty good job with the alphabet. Like, if I practiced, I would be able to do this. There's not a whole lot of resources out there besides some books to begin either, but and this is what it looked like afterward. It made a mess underneath a little bit. It leaked in a couple of places, which definitely probably my fault. I didn't know how to properly dip the pen until later. But yeah, the letters turned out pretty good, particularly like M and N, and I think P a little bit. Maybe W as well, just a little. So it turned out really good. I liked it. It took me about an hour to do. And then this is the journal I actually want to start writing some calligraphy in. I think it's so beautiful, but I want to learn it properly before I start tainting paper with my pen. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first foray into calligraphy. I learned some things afterward that I should have known earlier, like how to change the tip of the pen out so I could get a wider nib, meaning I could actually do the calligraphy correctly. But you know, I did get a sheet of the alphabet for the script that I want to work on, so I think that will be helpful. I did learn how to hold the pen and things like that, so I didn't technically not learn anything today, except that I'm an idiot, but yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. It took about an hour to finish that up, but that is also because I filled in the letters myself because the tip was so fine. But yeah, I will definitely be doing projects with calligraphy in the future. I'm going to start practicing every day. Who knows, maybe you'll see some shorts from me of different things that I'm practicing and trying to get better at for LARP, or like if I'm working on something small just for my games or whatever. I think that would be pretty cool. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.